So just by show of hands, how many people are stunt performers in here? Stunt actors, stunt performers? A lot of you. Okay, cool. Does one stunt count? Yeah. Falling down the stairs in your house? I'm not sure. If you're wondering, my name is Arda. I come from the also extremely dangerous world of broadcasting. Holding the microphone, extremely dangerous stuff. I actually stunt double Al Trotwig at MSG Networks every now and then. Just kidding. So let's talk about the film. Actually, before we get started, just in case people may not recognize a couple of you on the panels, let's just start with your names, what you do, and tell me what your favorite gig has been thus far.
Can you hear me without this? Yes. Yeah. My name is Stephen Koepfer. I'm one of the producers and co-directors of the film. I'm a rookie stunt guy. I've been involved in TV and film for, I guess, officially about 10 years, but rookie to stunts, and any gig I get is my favorite gig at this point. So I'm just under a year in as a union stunt performer. I started stunts in 2014, so I'm still pretty rookie to that world.
We recognize you from the film, yes?
Yes. Hi, my name is Federico. Yes, I'm a stuntman, and my background, as you guys saw, is in martial arts, but I also enjoy like creating my own like fights and putting it together and just having fun with it. So that's definitely something that I love to do. And then of course, like when I get hired, like pays better right now. So it's better like to work for like bigger, you know, like sets and stuff. And I recently I had a lot of fun doing Iron Fist, the Marvel Iron Fist. That was fun. And working on Gotham here is also great. A lot of great experience here.
Hey, I'm Matthew Kaplowitz. I'm I'm a lot of things. I'm the producer, director, editor. I did a lot of stuff with this thing, yeah. I'm not a stunt person, though, so I don't really have anything stunt related like to say, but I like Iron Fist. You were great in that.
Oh, thank you. I got beat up.
Great job, great job.
Yeah.
My name is Wendy Gutierrez. I'm also a stunt woman, and my background is martial arts. And I guess my best shows and stuff is just working on the Marvel shows. I mean, I love working, so yeah, any job.
Hi, I'm Joanne. My most recent work, I guess, would be Orange is the New Black. I do the Blacklist, and my favorite work is my next job.
I think I'm noticing a trend here, right? I think I'm noticing a trend. The first question I have is actually for Stephen and Matthew. Let's just talk about the film itself. I mean, it was very interesting the way that you guys focused in on one particular project that was being done. It was a 30-minute around that. So can you just talk to us about the motivation for creating the film the way that you did?
Matt and I know each other for a long time through martial arts also. Oh, yeah, sure. Matt and I...
because it's being recorded.
Got you. Okay, cool. So Matt and I know each other for a long time, and I had jumped on at the tail end of his last feature documentary as a producer. We had never really worked together. I've been in front of the camera for him many times over the years, but I was just falling in love with the stunt community, and I just kind of called him up one day. I was like, hey, you want to do a documentary about these guys? They're like really, really awesome guys, and he was down for it. And we took a chance and worked together and came out pretty good, I think. Yeah.
Anything to add, Matt?
We had so little time to make this thing, because this was basically, the whole purpose behind this thing was actually for a festival debut. We got into the Urban Action Showcase Expo, and we had like, what, a month to make this thing?
Yeah, maybe
like,
2
a month,
tops.
I think
Yeah, it was
like
pretty
6
quick.
weeks at most, I'd say. So we had 6 weeks to basically put everything together and get it ready for the debut, which was like late November last year. And now we're here, and we've been doing some other festivals, and it's been a run.
I mean, regarding the short that was in there, we wanted to document how people put together a scene to kind of educate people who may not know, and so we started asking around what's going on, what projects are going on that we can jump in on, and it was hard. It's always hard to jump in the middle, so I contacted Federico, who I train with, and was like, hey man, because he's coordinated some stuff and he does a lot of shorts. And I was like, hey, we're doing this documentary that has to be done in like 6 weeks. Do you want to do a short and let us document you doing it? And he said yes, and did a great job on the short that you guys saw in there.
I was like, like, how much time do I have to do it? Like a couple of hours. Okay, great. How many people? Like 2. Okay, let's do it. Like, in a building that, of course, we were using, but it's not that it was our set. There were people walking around, and it's like, it was it was fun. We definitely learned a lot also from that too.
I think more than half the shoot we spent just like waiting for people to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Just everybody in that building was just going down the elevator, especially that elevator thing. That took like 2 hours.
Yeah.
just for that one little shot, just because everybody kept using it. We can't stop them. It's an active office building.
Yeah, because I had that great idea to do like one shot because we have so much time and when there are no people walking around, I was like, perfect. That's the worst thing possible to do, but let's try.
So, were there any extra shots needed to be taken because they were filming the documentary? Like, oh, we got it for the film, but the documentary didn't get it, so now we got to do the stunt all over again. I remember there's one scene in the film where you took the crash pad away and you had to do that one stunt without the crash pad. We did it several times. But hopefully the documentary guys got what they needed and didn't ask for any extra takes.
I wasn't allowed to ask for extra takes. My
I think
job
that's what I
was
was getting at, yeah.
my job was basically be the fly on the wall the entire time. So it was really stay out of the way. That's why you saw pretty much all those shots. You know, he's always in it. Someone's always in it, just because I have to always be behind them or be aware of where they're going to be moving next. So for me, there were no second takes. It was just stay out of the way and don't screw up their takes because they're the more important ones.
Well, I just want to say, like, I'm not a stunt coordinator. Like, I'm just love to do like this stuff and put it together for fun, but I'm aware of how this thing works. So in the moment, like whoever was in this, we're doing it for fun and just to help out. Like asking somebody to hit the floor, especially without getting paid, is like, okay, do you want to do it? Like I would never even ask. Like, so I was like, if you're okay with it, we'll do it. So yeah, he was not allowed to ask any extra.
Fair enough. Let's go to that side of the room there. You mentioned that you've been doing stunts for over 20 years, and one of the themes in this film was the rise of stunt work in New York City in particular. Tie that into your career. I mean, where have you been in your career, in your 20-plus years in stunt work? And also, just talk about the rise of stunt work in New York City in particular in your journey.
I started in the early, mid-90s, I'd say, and a gentleman by the name of Danny Aiello III. Yes. He gave me my first job. He genuinely gave me my first job. He would say he started just about everybody in the business, but he did start me. And I worked for him for quite a while. Before the unions merged, I was doing after work before I got my SAG card. And that would entail a lot of television, a lot of soap opera work. So I started there. I worked a lot in the soaps, doing a lot of silly things. I had water thrown in my face as a stunt because the actress didn't want to do it, so I was hired to have a glass of water thrown in my face.
So in retrospect, is that an easy day comparatively?
Yes, I'd say it was. And I've also been set on fire for soap opera. So it ran the gamut as far as soap work. And once I did earn my SAG card, I did a lot of television and film work. Film work was much heavier in New York then than it is now. We had a lot of film work, a lot of good film work here in New York until 9/11. And once 9/11 came around, films tapered down, TV tapered down for a while, and then we began getting television back. Television has exploded since that time, and we have a lot of the new media. We have the Marvel, we have a lot of the Netflix shows like Orange is the New Black, which is what I do a lot of work on now. And that's where it has expanded to. So I've run the gamut from the soap operas to the new media over these 20 years. And it's gone fairly, I've done the sine wave. I've been busy and I've been completely without work for almost as long as 3 years, doing nothing else. And it's been a great, interesting, and tough business to stay in. But I can't do anything else.
So 20 plus years there, yeah. 20 plus years is a fantastic career in any vocation. So to be able to take stunts and do that to your body for 20 plus years is fantastic. I mean, that's inspiring. Inspiring, I would say. What about longevity in the stunt work yourself? How many years have you been doing stunts?
I'm going into 4.
4 years, and
Yes.
Federico, yourself?
Just stunts about 4 years. 4 years, like, it's weird, like 4 years here in the US, because being a foreigner, first I had to like set up my stuff to be able to
Get all
work
the
here
paperwork in
and
place, yeah.
everything. So
I hope you
about
got it
4
done.
years. Yeah, that was another challenge, but it's not part of this documentary. So maybe the next one.
Let's start with you then. Let's just talk about, I mean, in your 4 years, has it always been in New York City? And what has your journey been like doing stunt work here?
Yes, my stunts has always been in New York City, but most of my training had been in Los Angeles. I've been around the business for almost 20 or 25 years, being that I have family members that has work in the business, you know, doing Power Rangers and things like that. So I did train with, you know, the team with Power Rangers, and I was just always around stunts, always, and, you know, I just used to train with them. So, but then when I came into New York, I decided to actually do it professionally, and that's where it started. Yeah.
And how about for yourself, once all the paperwork got in place? How's the journey been?
Well, I was originally in Los Angeles, studying there. Like, I was also studying acting, and I was just putting together all my years of martial arts. And then I moved to New York because my wife got a Broadway show, and so I was like, okay, let's go and let's start from zero again, because it's awesome. But you have to support the wife, you know, like otherwise.
So let's talk inspirations. And I know it runs in the family, like you said, with the Power Rangers. Federico, you mentioned in the film that you like those Hong Kong fighting scenes with the wide angles.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so let's talk about that. What inspired you guys to say, I want to be a stunt performer specifically? You're laughing. Was it anything in particular?
Absolutely. I remember specifically it was Raiders of the Lost Ark. Specifically when...
The face melted? That looks awesome. I want to do that.
That's what happened when my parents found out that's what I wanted to do. In the theater, I'm watching the horse go down the side of the mountain. The person does the transfer to the truck, goes under the truck, the whole fight sequence and all that. I knew when I was 11 years old, the person on the horse was not Indiana Jones. It wasn't Harrison Ford. That person had the best job in the world, and I wanted it. I had to have it. And I went home, and I told my school counselor when I was 12, in September when we went, I told my school counselor I wanted to be a stuntman. And he looked at me and shook his head. He's like, no. Why don't you do something nice? Like something a nice young lady would want to do, like be a dental hygienist. And I kid you not, those were his exact words, and it devastated me. But it never left, and I had to do it. I was 11 years old, and it was that movie. And just, it never left, and here I am. So
Let's talk about, I mean, a lot of you have martial arts backgrounds. What other, many of the people in the audience here are already stunt performers, stunt actors, but some of them might want to think about joining the ranks. So martial arts seems like a very common background or a good base. What other foundations would you guys suggest to get before you consider getting into the stunt world?
For me, it was martial arts. You know, it's not always for everybody. That's not the entryway for everybody. I mean, in the last couple of years being involved in this community, I've met guys like Anthony who are circus clowns, and there are parkour people, and there are gymnasts, and I mean, just about any specialty skill that you can excel in, that you can kind of separate yourself out, can help you kind of start approaching that world. I mean, for me, I was lucky. I do a martial art, a Russian martial art, that's called Sambo, and sort of my real first official, job was when the 8711 guys called me to teach their stunt guys some Sambo for John Wick 2. And so that was sort of my entry into like, wow, this is really awesome, But other people, I mean, it's just whatever you have that can separate yourself out, and then to really understand that it's a slow burn, and that you're going to do 90% training and like 10% work if you really want to make it in this business,
Yeah, I agree. I think it also depends from the waves of work, like meaning like what kind of movies like are coming out, or like it's always like right now a lot of, I would say, tactical stuff, like because of John Wick and now Atomic Blonde, like all this like big movie with this kind of action. So, but I think it kind of like changes, you know, so definitely make sure to have like a strong background that is your specific skill, and then train as much as you can and try to learn more stuff to get, you know, more work. And more than anything, like, just be honest. Like they were already mentioning, just really be honest. Even if you need to work, and like you said, you're gonna train 90% and work 10, sometimes you have to like call out that 10 too. Like if you don't have that specific skill, like don't risk it, right? Like I got a call recently and it was like, oh, can you do like parkour? I was like, I can, because I can, I'm pretty athletic, but it's not really my thing, so I'd rather pass. Sucked, but you know, like, just be honest to yourself and don't put nobody in dangers, and especially the coordinator on that day. Like, you know, it's his responsibility at that point, so, you know, think ahead.
My advice to someone trying to come into the business would be, whatever your strong point is, you know, martial arts, anything is, learn how to fall. It doesn't matter what you're going.
Absolutely.
It really doesn't matter. I could be the best martial artist there is. It doesn't matter. Eventually, the stunt is going to be for me to hit the ground, take a hit, whatever it is. And where the danger comes in is when you don't know how to hit the ground. You hit something, you know, and it could be as simple. It doesn't have to be a high fall or, you know, this intrigue kind of stunt, but it's those small stunts. I'm, you know, me making believe that I'm gonna punch her and she has to fall from here to there. It might not seem far, but people, you know, the head is something that we don't want to hit on concrete. And yeah, so to me, whoever is trying to do stunts, just please learn, practice how to land a fall, how to, you know, how to make sure that at the end of the day, you go home to your family.
Absolutely. This is the absolute best advice you could get, between knowing how to fall, the air awareness, the body awareness. So if you're not a martial artist, learn how to tumble. Learn your basic, simple tumbling skills. Not necessarily gymnastics, but your basic tumbling. Falling is the biggest part of ground pounding. You're hitting the ground. Eventually, whatever the stunt is, you're going to have to hit the ground in the end, usually. And if you don't know how to hit the ground properly, if you don't know to keep your head up, you don't know to keep your chin tucked to your chest, and all of your muscles aren't strong enough to keep your body safe and to keep all of the parts able to go on and do it again and do it again and do take 4 and take 5 over and over again, you're not going to be able to continue to do it. And the beating on your body is just, it hurts anyway. If anybody tells you, if any of these people, you meet a stunt person, they, oh no, it doesn't hurt, they're full of garbage. It hurts. Everything hurts. Falling down the stairs hurts, whether you do it once or 10 times. And you might have to do it 10 times. So just learn how to fall. If you're not a martial artist, tumble. If you're not a tumbler, learn martial arts, but learn how to fall and do it properly, do it safely.
This might be a silly question, but I'm genuinely curious more because sometimes when you go back to movies from the 80s, you'll see wires and things like that. Like, it's not very well hidden compared to what you see now. But like, what sort of, from a technology standpoint or from even things on set, the machinery or whatever it is, what sort of advancements have you seen in your 20 years of doing stunts that have made your job easier, if at all?
The CGI technology, green screen, and being able to paint things out, I guess is what they would call it. Wires might be painted the same as the green screen, so they are less obvious. They might be painted black when they're thin enough, and they are less obvious, so they can be removed in post. All of the computer technology is making things, I don't want to say easier, because it's also taking away some of the work that used to be there. We don't do high falls as much. We're now put on wires, and those wires are taken out. And that's not a bad thing. High falls are very dangerous. They go wrong very easily. They go wrong very quickly. Can't always do it given the conditions, but you can be put on a wire in the same conditions. You couldn't necessarily do a high fall. It's all the computer technology, I think, that I've seen that's come up. The rigging technology is so much safer. The inventions people are coming up with, the creative ways to manipulate technology that didn't exist, we have now. Even in driving, everything. There's so much. We don't, I don't know, go ahead.
I'm just fascinated because sometimes, like I said, you look at movies from the 90s and 80s and you can clearly see that's a wire right there, or that's like, or even sometimes you even see the stunt actor, you know what I mean? Like in some of the movies, it's like, no, that's not the same guy, or that's not the same person. Like you're totally seeing it, you know what I mean?
That would be, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the case. How about injuries? I'm sure that you guys have some interesting stories or two. I love to ask stunt performers this question because they always have at least one battle wound or some sort of war story that they can share. Federico, why don't we start with you?
Not really, to be honest. So no, not during like movie sets or on movie sets or anything like that. Thank God. But again, my stunts are, I'm pretty young in stunts, so my injuries and stuff comes more for like martial arts and competing. And there is something that we do in Chinese martial arts that is called duilian. That is pretty much like a fight. Like you organize a fight with your partner, right? And you compete by doing this fight. So there are judges. So you have to do the entire fight, of course, like from beginning to end. And yeah, there are moments where, you put like a flip in there or something, and then you're just so tired and you kind of land on your head or something like that. But this, again, was like more related to martial arts. Nothing yet on set, and hopefully I'll keep it that way.
For me, up to right now, I haven't had any major injuries. But for those up here that would do stunts, and for those that are out there that do stunts, we know that when we're doing those stair falls or those car hits, it's that little bone that we did not cover that we always hit. I was doing The Purge, and I had a tutu with a tank top, so I wasn't able to cover as much. And I was on a wire where they had to pull me and hit a car, which was full of Christmas lights. And, I figured, I'm like, okay, I'm going to hit my right side. So I kind of patted my rib, a bit of my side here and my bone. And, I was completely fine. It just so happened my knee, one over here, all those little lights caught up all those little things right there. I'm like, I couldn't pad that up because, you're going to see that I had a tutu. And I was like, damn, man, my leg. I wanted to clear the car, but it's one of those takes that you're like, shit. And then you do it again. You're like, okay, you make sure that leg is up there. But thank God, that's about it. I haven't had any major.
I have also been very fortunate, and I have not had any major injuries in my 20-plus years. I've hit my head a few times, so I'm certain I've had a minor concussion. But I bruise really easily, and I get some great bruises, and I am proud of those bruises. And I have quite a photo album of some really nasty bruises.
And by the way, I didn't want to spread any bad potential vibes. Only good vibes. Let's just all knock on our. I didn't want to set any bad juju out there. Okay, I apologize. We did get a couple of questions here. This one's from David. This is a two-parter here. It's very interesting. Which stunt are you most proud of? And is there one stunt that stands out as one that you would never do again? Start at the end and come this way.
That I'm most proud of.
Water in the face from the soap opera days comes to mind.
Yes. There are probably a few. I'd say maybe my first, because it was my first, and it meant I did it, and I got there, and I proved everybody who said I couldn't do it or I wouldn't do it, I proved them wrong. I've done a few fire burns. I've done a few burns that I absolutely loved, and enjoyed. I did a full burn for Fringe, the television show, when that used to be shot here in New York. Loved that. And one of my first, which was one of my bigger ones, I did a backfall through a glass window in a club for a film, and I had to go to the ground. And when we did it on the first take, we only went to boxes. And the second take, I had to fall to the floor with the aid of people catching me from about 10 feet. So it was done in 2 parts, but it's seamless when they cut it, of course. And I guess those are my most proud. I can't say I've had one that I wouldn't do again. There are some that are not fun to do, but it's part of the job, and you just do it. And I have not encountered one that I wouldn't do again, and I haven't turned one down yet either.
What would you say is your least fun one?
Anything when you're wet and cold. Yeah, wet, cold, horrible. We were in Baltimore shooting over Christmas time, and we were doing a film down there, and I was covered in fake blood. It was, I think it was -5 degrees out, and we're outside. And I'm one of the only people covered in blood. And the medics had to check my face to make sure I wasn't getting frostbite. And it was just absolutely miserable. And we were in fall wardrobe. We weren't in winter wardrobe or anything. So it was, yeah. But I'd do it again.
Yeah, same here. Up to right now, I haven't done a stunt that I won't do again. One of my favorite ones that I love doing is driving. I love stunt driving. I had one where I had to go ahead and do my 90s and 180s, and it was just fun. I mean, I was ripping that car. It was just fun. And the ones that I'm, kind of iffy about are my high falls. I mean, you have to have me on a wire before I do a pretty high fall. Yeah.
So for me, the one that I'm most proud was for this project where they approached me, and they gave me a pretty decent budget to create this fight scene. So finally, I was like, okay, let's see how crazy I can really get with this. And again, being a big fan of Hong Kong movies and really this kind of really fast martial arts choreography, I had 2 guys, guys actually from Hong Kong, fighting me, and was one shot. The difference is the difference with this one, where I was just following, the stunt performer going in different rooms or something. Everything happened in the same spot. So I was in the middle, and these 2 guys was fighting me side to side, nonstop. So the camera had to go around 360, running around us, and make sure to get also the right angles, because of course I wouldn't really get hit in the face or something. So I was doing this really long choreography, nonstop, hitting with the camera running around us. And it turned out pretty well. That was really fun to do. And when I saw it, I was like, okay, that's good. It was at the same time also pretty hard to do. My less favorite, I would say, because I would do any other stunts again, it was, I had to do this wire gig. I was on a wire, and it's called a gooch, where pretty much it's like doing, it's like doing a backflip. So it's like doing a backflip, okay? But the difference is a backflip, you can control it, right? The gooch, you have a wire that goes underneath you, and then it hooks. So when people pull you, you just unfold yourself. So there is nothing you really can control. When the countdown starts, 3, 2, 1, it's like, okay, right, let's go. You go. And of course, funny enough, I wanted to do that. I made that thing. I had that idea to do it. So there were no pads, of course, and no mattress. And so I had to do this gooch and land into a bunch of boxes. Behind the boxes, there were metal stuff. So I was like, okay, I really don't want to go through the boxes. So let's set up these boxes as hard as possible so that I don't go through. Right, but also really light. So I actually bounced off the boxes. So I flip, I don't know where I'm going. I just hit. I said, okay, I'm supposed to go in the box, but I'm actually falling back. And I don't know if you guys agree. I'm sure everybody like in stunt here, like at this moment when you're falling, everything just goes into slow motion. Like I swear, like I hit, I was like, I'm going down. I was upside down, and I just saw the concrete like coming closer and closer. I was like, that's it. Like I tried to cover, and thank God my team and the rigger guys, they saw that. They were able to just give me a little pull so that my head went up again and I didn't hit. Of course, that was a bad take, so I had to do it again. And I made sure to break all the boxes so I can go through. And yeah, so that's it. That's my experience.
Yeah, I've only had a few jobs so far, but my favorite would be my first one, which was on the blacklist, thankfully. And, you know, just from a rookie perspective, most of my jobs have been running around, pointing guns at people, and maybe falling over, getting shot. You know, so my first job was a 2-day job on the blacklist, and I was just, you know, kind of just giddy to do it, just to be in that environment and do it for real. And it was nothing extravagant, you know, but it was cool. I just stayed quiet, did what I was told, and if nobody corrected me, I felt like it was a good day, and it came out pretty good. So that was my best was my first. So yeah.
So that's it for our time on the panel. I know some of you have some other questions. I apologize to TJ. I apologize. We can get to your question here, but you can feel free to come and ask our panelists. But let's give a big round of applause to our panelists. And if you have any other further questions, I'm sure they're going to be lingering around. So feel free to come say hi to them. And thank you very much for coming to this screening.